Aloha everybody and welcome back to part 12 of Sonic Lost World. And ladies and gentlemen, we're at the moment you've all been waiting for. Yay! We've made it to Frozen Factory Act 3 of the 3DS version. This is the worst level in the game. Either version, Wii U or 3DS. This is the worst level, and this was the tipping point for me when I decided that, like, yeah, you know what? Sonic Lost World on 3DS? Garbage fire. I wasn't liking any of the levels leading to this level. I certainly hate the levels following this one. But this is the point when I knew, wow, this is the worst Sonic game I have ever played developed by Dimps. Like, say what you will about the Advance games, say what you will about Rush, or Sonic the Hedgehog 4 and how it screwed out the momentum. You know what? At least Sonic 4 didn't pad out its levels to be like 20 minutes long with very slow ball puzzles where they don't know how to stop. At least they understood how to make a fun game. I mean, ugh. So anyway, this camera, ice block. I can't see the platforms. Thanks for that. So in this level, you have to roll a whole bunch of snowballs, a lot, throughout the entirety of the stage. So you can roll them over switches, so that you will open up capsules, so that you can reach teleporters that will take you to your destination, or help you find a red ring or something, you know. Look at all the switches in this particular area. So, there's a teleporter on the top there. If you go into it, you will go back the way you came, and you won't have made any progress. You will have come here for nothing. You're supposed to open up the capsule on the ice platform at the top, which has a snowball inside of it, because there's a hole right next to that capsule that you want to push the snowball into, so that it will open up another capsule at the entrance, so that you can get that snowball and push them into the entrance's holes. Are you confused yet? If this is your first time playing, you're going to be inevitably pushing all of those switches, trying to figure out which one opens which, just so you can get to your destination, and you could spend like 2 minutes in that area. But me, I played this level 1,000 times trying to get an S rank. Yeah, I replayed this level a lot. You're welcome, fans! Thank you! I know you didn't put a gun to my head, but still! Oh, I skipped an area, by the way, that has this annoying Penguinator section where they just keep respawning, and every time you try to homing attack a Penguinator, if they're doing a dive move, you take damage and then you get hurt, and they're constantly going after you when you're trying to push the snowball. Even if it's on ice, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger the more you push it, and right now we're in an area where the sentient snowball has come, and it's going to constantly roll after you. It's going to constantly chase you throughout the entire level, and if it touches the snowball that you're making, guess what? It destroys the snowball, and then you have to go back to where it respawns and roll it up again until it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger so that you can fit it into the holes and stuff. And don't worry, you'll get used to it quite well because you're going to have to do it 1,000 friggin' times in this one playthrough of this one stage alone. Ugh. The sentient snowball can be stunned. You can stun him with a wave and then homing attack him, and then he'll be stuck for what feels like 15, 20 seconds. Well, that seems generous. Maybe 10, 15 seconds. But then eventually that snowball is going to start chasing you again. And the biggest tip I have with rolling snowballs is you're going to want to use the L button on the 3DS to center the camera behind Sonic so that I can just constantly hold left and keep mashing the L button so that it's always going where I want it to go, because otherwise I will lose control of the snowball, and then I'll lose grip with it, and I'll have to try and move it again, but then the sentient snowball will start getting up, and it'll start chasing me, and then the egg pawns start coming at me. Again, they can't die to one single homing attack. You have to do a charged up homing attack that is 3 levels deep, because otherwise you're just going to briefly hurt them. So yeah, that's always fun, but I hate that auto homing attack! Oh, guys, we're not even close to done. You know, I would think, like, if this is Dimp's first foray on trying to make a 3D Sonic game on a handheld, their first time doing 3D gameplay for the most part. I know they did Sonic Unleashed on the Wii, but you'd think you'd want the levels to be shorter. You'd think you'd want them to be 5-10 minutes, well, 5 to 2 minutes when you know what you're doing. You know, you don't want it to be 10, 15... 20 minutes. No joke. I have seen tons of Let's Plays of this game. Most people's first playthrough of this stage goes into the 20-minute mark. If not outruns the time limit completely. Where the time limit literally runs out in the top right, where, like, I have 20 minutes to beat this stage, and if this is my first time playing, there's a good chance it will run out before I finish the stage, especially with this area right here. Oh my god. So, you thought it was confusing before, right? I need to push 3 switches in order to open 1 capsule, which has a teleporter that will get me out to the next area, but 1 switch won't open up unless I kill all the badniks. 1 switch won't open up unless I hit 3 other switches. I'm not making this up. You have to open 1 switch by hitting 3 other switches. You have to open 1 by destroying all the badniks, and then there's 1 you have to lure the snowball over to so that he can sit on the switch so that you stun him when he's on the switch, right? Now, the good news about the sentient snowball is that it doesn't actually damage you. It just freezes you, but it does destroy your snowballs that you're pushing, so I find that much worse because it just adds time to this really dull, boring, freaking long level that the only reason I know where I'm going, I say that as I'm looking for a badnik. I don't know where to go. I'm looking for a badnik, I'm looking for a switch to press, I'm looking for something to do on this planetoid. I don't know where to go. Everything is so confusing, and that sentient snowball just keeps spawning behind me again and again and again and again and again. Oh, here's 1 switch I need to press, and so I let the snowball get over to it, it rolls on the switch, and I stun him, and then I knock him out so he stays on the switch, and now I can push that 1 of 3 switches that will get me a teleporter out of here. Jesus Christ. You know, it's bad with the auto homing attack. It's bad when just trying to figure out how to get to the next area is confusing. The fact that I have to push so many switches, kill so many badniks, do all these things just to get out of this 1 planetoid area. You know, most kids are probably going to spend 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes in this 1 area alone, and then they're begging. After struggling with this puzzle, I'm looking for the badnik. Where is he? I don't know. You'd think kids would get frustrated by this, and then you hope that through playtesting, okay, this will be the end, right? I will figure out what to do. I'll find that 1 badnik I'm looking for. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I don't know. I've been spinning on this damn thing, but it's bigger than it looks. Oh, there's the penguinator. Jesus. And now I could finally press the switch and get to the teleporter. And in a good, well-designed game, you'd be like, okay, we've had enough snowball pushing. That was a little confusing. Let's end this thing. We're not done. What are you talking about? Such a bad level. You know, never mind what Sonic fans want. They want to run fast. They want to go through a boost formula game. They want to hit the loop-de-loops, hit the springs, and do all the fun stuff. This is not what you would typically see in a Sonic game, you know? Just lots of rolling snowballs and doing slow puzzles where you're very confused as to where you should be going. Again, if those gears run over you, doesn't matter how many rings you have, you will die, so watch out. And keep an eye out for that sentient snowball. But, I hated this level when I first played it. I hated it because I played it for like over 30 minutes, just waiting for it to end, just wondering why the hell it wasn't over yet. And it just kept going and going and going, and it's just, I was so mad at it. It's one thing watching me play it because I'm familiar with it, and I've played through the stage numerous times before I recorded this. If you guys saw my first playthrough, oh my god. It was the worst thing. So I was always confused when people were saying, like, oh, the 3DS version of Lost World is definitely better than the Wii U one, Clement. The Wii U one's boring. At least the 3DS one is faster. Yeah, it's faster paced in terms of movement and control. Look at these levels, though. Do you think these are faster levels? I had to run into that snowball before he ran into mine, so I kind of took a hit because I was like, don't hit my snowball, you bastard. But does this look fast-paced to you? Does this look like something you would want to do? If you don't like the Wii U version, fine, but don't you dare tell me the 3DS version's a better version than the Wii U one. You are lying to yourself. As always with the electric spinners, make sure you stun them with a wave before you homing attack them, because they'll be electric sometimes, and that's no good, but wow, that level's bad. If you guys saw the Penguinator area that I skipped out on, where they just keep respawning, and it's so easy to get hurt when you try to homing attack them, what were they thinking with this level? What were they thinking? That's the only time I've ever gotten an S rank on that stage. I'm not getting another one. I don't want to touch that ever again. That was miserable. And there are so many bad levels coming up in the 3DS version. Oh, we're not done. We're so not done.
Move it or lose it, Snow Cone.
The last time we met, you ruined my nail art. Now I have to reapply a whole new coat.
Oh my gosh, are you serious? I am so sorry.
Oh, well, in that case...
Oh no, what I meant to say is, I'm so sorry that you have nothing more important to do in life.
Oh, you're gonna pay for that! As soon as my nails dry.
I'm just a girl. Tee. But anywho, folks, welcome to Frozen Factory Act 4 of the Wii U version. We don't push snowballs here, thank God. But there is a lot of ice here, so you're going to have to be careful. Make sure to let go of the R button whenever you make jumps, like I said before. It really, really helps. And there's a lot of ice blocks here that you can use the bounce move in order to shatter. And I haven't really talked about the bounce move too much. There's one thing I don't like about the bounce move, and that is it is the same button as the homing kick and the homing wave, depending what version you're playing. And that kind of sucks sometimes because I'll try to do a homing kick or a homing wave in the 3DS version, and then my character will bounce instead, and then I just waste my ability, and it's just like, it's the same kind of problem when, like, Sonic Unleashed had the boost button tied to, the homing attack button, where, like, if you didn't have anything to homing attack, all of a sudden you just, whoa! You launched forward super quickly because it's the same button as the boost button, but if you don't have a reticle, it just kind of screws up with your controls a little bit, so, for the most part, the bounce is just sort of there. It's good for the ice in this level, it's good for reaching higher ceilings in Tropical Coast 1 for the 3DS, but I don't often do it that much. And Sonic doesn't even need a bounce bracelet to do it. He just does it. He's improved quite a bit since Sonic Adventure 2. And at the beginning of Frozen Factory Act 3 in the 3DS version, there are 3 areas you could go into. That's why I keep mentioning the Penguinator area that I skipped. The reason you'd want to do all 3 is that it opens up a capsule with a red ring in it. And I haven't really talked about what red rings do in the 3DS version. They unlock extra levels. If you collect every single red ring in one particular zone, like the only one I ever completed was Windy Hill, because I was curious, what do the red rings do? Because if the 3DS version has Chaos Emeralds and special stages, which you only need 50 rings at the end of a stage in order to reach, what do the red rings do? In the 3DS version, they unlock extra levels. No, I'm not playing them. No, I haven't collected every red ring for the 3DS version. No, I'm not going to do it. If you want to see the extra stages, you go right ahead. Oh, by the way, this game has a hard mode after you beat the main campaign. Oh yeah, if you can believe it. It already controls pretty bad. It's already got some annoying things in it. But there is a hard mode to Sonic Lost World on 3DS, where every single level gets redesigned to have a lot more spikes and traps and death pits, and it's just, no. I won't do it. So that's why I'm not collecting the red rings in the 3DS version. Anyway, this level's called Frozen Factory, so here we have a Metropolis callback. With all the gears here, you can spin dash on them to make them go really, really quickly. Make sure you're locked in before you do that, though. It's the same thing as Sonic 2. Make sure the gear is actually rising or lowering, depending which direction you're going, because if it's not rising or lowering, then you're going to spin dash right off the gear and just go flying into the pit, and, well, that's not good for your health. It's not good for your health. Either way, I much prefer the Wii U version. I don't call this slow at all. People say the 3DS version is a lot faster, and certainly there are a lot more slower paced stuff going on in the Wii U version, but I still think it moves at a pretty decent speed. I love that bit where I was skating in the tube and I was jumping over the spikes and stuff, or just skating in between the spikes.
Now, you wouldn't hurt a lady, would you?
Well, I kind of have to hit a lady, Zeena, and you're one of the weakest, lamest boss fights yet, because you immediately, like, spawn these little spinner things, but, like, then your weak point shows up, like, immediately, so you don't have time to watch them spin and see what happens, and that's it.
If these stains don't come out, you're dead!
Maybe Zeena should have had an invulnerability period before I could homing attack her, because, yeah, that's not much of a boss fight. Neither is the 3DS version, for that matter. So Zeena's on top of a giant snowman, and when you hit the snowman 3 times, you're going to get a lightning wisp. And as far as I know, I believe this is the only way to actually damage Zeena. I don't think you can homing attack her normally. But she's also spitting out these badniks, and when you destroy the badniks, they let out this little balloon bird thing. I don't know what it is, but you can use lightning to homing attack chain on those bird things, and then you rise higher, and then you homing attack Zeena, and it only takes 2 homing attacks with a lightning wisp to defeat Zeena. Only 2! So, that's the boss fight. I beat her.
Gotta go! Call me!
Give me your number first, God. But yeah, folks, that is Frozen Factory. That is Zeena, the female member of the Deadly Six. And, God, Frozen Factory Act 3 was bad. God!
I'm getting tired of lugging your head around, pal, so I made you a snowbot body.
I can't feel my legs!
True, your robots are a reflection of your genius, Dr. Eggman. But this does give me an idea.
I think I know a way to cause the lost hex to implode using null gravity effects. We could destroy the Zeti in one quick stroke.
And exterminate every living thing around them. Are you out of your mind?
Of course, there'd be some collateral damage, but...
Collateral damage? What kind of monster?
Tails!
I'm sorry. I suddenly felt very mean.
Not the best idea to put the dimwit's head on a battle bot.
In hindsight, I gotta agree with you, Doc. Thanks for the save. Can you get off me now?
I can't figure you out. 1 second you're contemplating genocide, and the next you're saving one of your worst enemies.
I'm a complicated guy.
And you? What were you thinking, Tails? You could have gotten yourself killed.
I was just trying to help.
I love that line so much. I'm a complicated guy. But yeah, folks, we got all the red rings in Frozen Factory, so now we got 4 Chaos Emeralds. Booyah! And I only need 160 flickies, and then I'm good to go for the final boss, which I can easily do with Silent Forest, our next zone coming up. I would recommend looking up a blind playthrough of Frozen Factory 3. Go look up Kobanermani, his playthrough of the 3DS version, because by the end, oh man, he started hating that game, and I shared every single sentiment he had when I was playing the game myself. For his playthrough of Frozen Factory 3 should give you a good idea of what it's like, but any blind playthrough, what makes that level so bad is how confusing it is. There are bad pathways you don't want to go into. There's so many switches and rules that you need to know in order to proceed to the next area. It's just abysmal, and my god, the game doesn't get much better from here. The 3DS version, anyway. Anyway, folks, we're going to meet the last of the Deadly Six, not counting Zavok, and we're moving on to Silent Forest in Part 13. See you then.